Good morning, everyone. We are continuing over here in the laws of Sukkah. A very important halacha for us to know since we spend so much time eating and drinking and sleeping in the Sukkah. A person has to treat the Sukkah respectfully. Because we don't want the mitzvahs to look like they are something that are embarrassing and shameful to us. Therefore, a person should not bring vessels, utensils that are not honorable inside the sukkah. For example, cooking pots. You want to serve the soup on a cold night there in the sukkah. You don't bring the whole pot into the sukkah. That's not a nice thing to bring in there. You say further, if you have a jug that you would use to draw water, we don't really draw water today, but if you had an unsightly jug that you brought in there, or what about your storage utensils? You store flour in here, or something that you use to mix things together, a mixing bowl. Or what about a frying pan or a grinder? Those kind of things, all those things, those are not considered to be honorable things to bring in. You cooked your chicken in a disposable aluminum pan, and now you want to bring the chicken into the sukkah in a disposable aluminum pan. In the sukkah, which is Anani HaKavod, the sukkah which is a place of mitzvah, the sukkah which is a place of kedusha, you bring it onto a serving tray and you treat the sukkah respectfully. Even the plates which we're allowed to bring in, and we eat off of them, but once we finish eating, we don't leave dirty plates lying around the sukkah, chicken bones and grizzle fat from the meat that you had, or half of your breakfast and your cheese that you left over in the morning. No, once we finished and it's dirty, we take them out. However, the drinking vessels, that the cups, glasses, that already you can leave in the sukkah, even if you seem to be pausing from your drinking at this point. Also, person shouldn't bring in earthenware lamps into the sukkah because they seem to be repulsive, which means that a person should, if a candle has a foul smell or something of that nature, or they look horrible after they are burned, shouldn't bring them in there. You shouldn't do any chores which are lowly type of chores in the sukkah. You want to wash your dishes. We don't wash dishes in the sukkah. However, to rinse out some cups in the sukkah, again, cups is not as bad. That would be permissible. Of course, we understand to urinate, to go to the bathroom in the sukkah, is something that we don't do. Even if you want to do it into a vessel, you have like a urinal or something like that, not in the sukkah. So even though we have to live in the sukkah the way we live in our house and we urinate inside of our house, nevertheless, we don't do bathrooms in the sukkah. However, interestingly enough, says the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, that a husband and a wife are allowed to have marital relations in the sukkah. Why? Because the main mitzvah of the sukkah is husband and his wife together, and therefore you have to live in the sukkah the way you lived in your house. So in your house, a husband and a wife share marital relations with each other. They could do it in the sukkah, and therefore if a person would have a private sukkah where it would be concealed from children or from other people, and it would be noiseless, so to speak, in that sukkah, people would not be aware of what's going on, it would certainly be permissible. If a person does violate the halacha and they bring lowly vessels into the sukkah, you should know the sukkah does not become invalidated. However, at the time that they're there, ein levarech leishe b'sukkah. The Kitzur Shulchan Aruch paskins, when you have pots and pans and a urinal and all different things that we mentioned over here that are below the dignity of the sukkah inside of your sukkah, you cannot make the bracha of leishe b'sukkah ad sheyitzim, until you remove them from the sukkah. So there, Kitzur says a person should be very careful to make sure that they keep the sukkah with great honor and great kavod, and in that way, Be'ezus Hashem will elevate the days of Sukkot to days of honor and glory for Klal Yisrael, for our families, and for our Kodesh Baruch Hu. All the best.